reaches. Oh, that ball's out. That's live. Back the other way, Sam Hubbard. The Cincinnati Kid. Hubbard's got a convoy. Chased by Andrews. At the 30, the 20. He will score.
To the end zone, down the field, and it is deflected and gone. Touchdown, A.J. Green.
Over goes back to throw. Men are coming late. Looks right down the middle. There is Eddie Brown. He has it at the 35 to the 30. He may go 10-5. Touchdown.
Now the Bengals Super Bowl chances rest on his right foot. The kick is up.
Yeah.
It is good.
Corey Dillon, he's gone. The knockout punch, you're looking at it. 65 yards. And they're back to throw as the blitz is on. Goes long, intended for Collinsworth. He has it down to the 20, touchdown. And Chris Collinsworth.
Throwing the long ball. Deep down the field. Johnson's got it. Touchdown. Cincinnati.
Look at Chase go. Oh, my goodness. What a gear he just found. Case for the touchdown. Wow. Chase is on the case.
It is no fluke. It is a fact. The Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Super Bowl 56. The play clock at 3. Shotgun snap. Carr throws into traffic. Intercepted. Jermaine Pratt has the football.
Yeah.
Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. How about that?
All right, welcome in everybody. Cincinnati Bengals post-game show here on Chatterbox Sports. Bengals lose to the New England Patriots 26-20. They fall to 3-8 on the season. Had a chance there at the end, Austin, but unable to come away with points to extend the game or to take the lead. I just talked about it for 3.5 hours. So I'll get your initial reactions to this one, Austin, and then we'll jump into it from there. Initial thoughts on the Bengals loss today.
Yeah, obviously a tough one. Had you asked me this morning if I thought it would come down to the final drive without, our top two receivers, I probably would never have guessed that. But a fun one. It sucks because we're at the point in the season where you can't really afford to have a fun loss. But it was good to at least see him be, competitive in the goal line stands by the defense. The pick six that we got was a little bit more fun than the one we gave up. But yeah, just a weird game. I mean, especially like the first quarter and a half, I think you could almost buy into the Kool-Aid a little bit of like, holy crap, we're kind of slowing down their offense. Our defense is figuring out ways to get off the field. You're kind of just waiting for the dam to break, so to speak. Joe Flacco throws a pretty bad pick six. And that, I mean, it's certainly a big play and kind of seemed like the turning point momentum-wise, but the Bengals found a way to stay in it. And then, I'll compliment them on that. Joe Flacco obviously getting the start is the whole topic in itself, but, he played okay enough to keep him in it. I think he obviously would even probably say that he had some missed opportunities as well, but made some big throws still, man. Played through a dislocated or broken finger, whatever the heck that was.
Yeah, that was nasty.
So, man, can't fault him for that, but I don't know. It was a lot closer than I thought. And I guess the spread from Vegas was 7.5 or something going into the game. So right about that, I guess, anyway. But I figured, I think I heard you guys talking pregame too. Like, I didn't expect this one to be close at all. So the fact that it was fun at least, but still sucks to get the loss, obviously. What are your initial thoughts? I know you probably have worked this out over the course of 3.5 hours, like you said, but
yeah. Well, I think the biggest surprise is the defense, right? I think you look at the score, and ultimately defense gives up 19 points on the day to the New England Patriots. I think a team that came into it with a rushing attack that was kind of working its way through with Trevion Henderson. And They never really got going on the ground. 31 carries for the Patriots in this one and only 107 yards, good for 3.5 per pop. That was a big factor in keeping this one close, was not allowing those big breakaway runs from Trevion Henderson that we've seen over the last several weeks. He has 5 total touchdowns in the last 2 games. Drake Maye didn't look good early, looked better as the game progressed, but early on looked really ugly. But yeah, yet again, the biggest thing that this defense has struggled with, and I don't know what the answer is at this point, is that they are unable to guard tight ends or running backs out of the backfield. You look at the numbers today, and Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper combined for 10 catches and over 150 yards. I mean, that's not a good recipe for success. And then you add in a number of catches out of the backfield by Henderson and by Stevenson, and it's just this tight end or this linebacking crew has been worked time and time again, and that's been a tough pill to swallow as well. And but they played well. I think at one point it was 12 straight goal-to-go plays that this Bengals defense held New England out of the end zone, and they weren't just like goal-to-go from the 10. I'd have to look at it, but like I think out of the 12, 8 of them were like inside the 5-yard line, if not more. And this defense really stood up and got the job done today. And you have to tip your cap to them because they've been much maligned, and a lot of people on the outside have been knocking them, and rightfully so. But today they did their job, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but you got to wonder what this game looks like if you have Joe Burrow back there under center instead of Joe Flacco. But Bengals led after the first quarter. They got a Evan McPherson 54-yard field goal to give a 3-0 lead in the first quarter. They held the Patriots scoreless. And then in the second quarter, Geno Stone extends that lead to 10-0 after he returns an interception 32 yards to the house. 10-0, the Bengals led at that point. Hunter Henry caught a 28-yard touchdown pass from Drake Maye to make it 10-7 before Marcus Jones picked off Joe Flacco on a screen pass and returned it 33 yards to the house. Patriots led 14-10 at that point and never really looked back. They got a 41-yard field goal to make it 17-10, and then Evan McPherson hit a 63-yard field goal before the half to make it 17-13. In the third quarter, only 3 points on the board. New England got a 45-yard field goal. Their lead was 20-13 heading into the fourth quarter. They would add, after those big goal line stands, a 19-yard field goal after a 7-minute drive to go up 23-13. And then Mitchell Tinsley was found in the end zone for a 17-yard touchdown from Joe Flacco to bring the Bengals within 3. They'd give up a 52-yard field goal to Borregales again, 26-20, and that would be your final after the Bengals unable to make that final drive. Leaders on the day for the Bengals, obviously Joe Flacco from a passing perspective, 19 of 37, 183 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That's way too similar to last week's line where he threw for 199 yards and a touchdown and an interception. Chase Brown, 19 carries, 107 yards. Would have liked them to use him more. From the receiving core, Yoshi led the way, 4 for 61. Gesicki, 4 for 35. T. Higgins just 5 for 31. He ended up leaving the game with what's believed to be a concussion. So we wait and see official word on his status as we look for Jamar Chase to come back next week. Mitchell Tinsley, only 2 catches, but they were big ones, a 17-yard touchdown and then a 12-yard first down there on that final drive. Chase Brown added 2 catches out of the backfield for 23 yards. So, look, I'm going to start with the same conversation we had in pregame, and I know we're beating it over the head with a hammer at this point, but it truly is the big conversation of the week. And my question to you, Austin, since we haven't heard your perspective on it yet, is if Joe Burrow is your quarterback today, are we looking at this same outcome in a New England Patriots victory?
I don't think we are. It's hard to know, right? Because Joe's been out how many weeks now? You don't know if there's going to be some rust coming off that. And, how's the toe? There's comments, I think, maybe yesterday or the day before that he's kind of sore after the couple of days of practice. So who knows, right? But you would like to think, I guess is the way to phrase it, that, the pick 6 probably doesn't happen. You wouldn't think. I'm sure he would maybe miss some guys here and there. Flacco had to miss to Gesicki, that type of thing. So I don't know. I think the potential for more big plays is probably there with Joe in the game, Burrow that is, and with the kind of mediocre average game that Flacco had, you'd like to think that you could have probably got that, if not more, from Burrow. But it's just hard to tell. Like, we don't know. I mean, he gets hit once and maybe it's aggravated again, and it's not as great as we thought. So it's hindsight's 2020 with that stuff. But with the game that Flacco had, not being a barn burner by any means, and obviously the really bad pick six, you would like to think that Burrow would kind of be at least a little bit better than that. But I don't know where you're at on. I mean, I think most Bengals fans coming off a loss would probably say we should have definitely played Burrow, which is like the easy maybe answer. But I think there's some nuance to it. But are you in agreement too, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I'm well on the record at this point with my opinion on the whole thing, and I don't need to beat the drum over and over again still, but I do think that having watched the game and, watching Joe Flacco struggle to find open receivers and that pick six that you mentioned, it's hard to imagine where Joe Burrow doesn't give you a better chance to win this one, but it is what it is at this point. The Bengals fall to 3-8 on the season, now a full 3 games behind first place, which is the Baltimore Ravens officially. Now they've won 5 straight after a win again today. Steelers also sitting at 6-5. But this AFC North is well within reach. I mean, it's a winnable division, if we're being honest, especially when you got 2 games against the Ravens coming up. So you could have been sitting there at 4-7, which sounds bad, but you're only 2 games back against the first place team. And that's what's hard to swallow is you have opportunities within this division to be competitive. The Steelers lost to the Bears today, 31-28. The Ravens, as I mentioned, were winners over the Jets, 23-10. So you could be sitting 2 games back still with Joe Burrow coming back in 2 games against the first place Ravens, but instead we're stuck here 3 games back, and hard to imagine them getting out of this rut, but I guess we will wait and see how they attack it moving forward. The other piece of this is obviously Jamar Chase was suspended for his actions last week. Would have been nice to have him in this game. Certainly struggled, it seemed, to find someone to step up. Even T. Higgins unable to really get going in this one. Mentioned it earlier, 5 catches, but not a whole lot of yards. His catches were mainly just kind of over the middle and short routes. So didn't really get going. I assume that they were doubling them, and we'll double check the video once we get a chance to see exactly how they were going up against T. Higgins, but definitely didn't get going. So the big story here is the defense, right? So defense steps up. Barrett Carter, 16 tackles on the day. Geno Stone, 13 tackles on the day, including a pass defended and that pick 6. This defense was huge today. Let's just be honest with it. I mean, they gave the Bengals their first touchdown of the day with that Geno Stone pick 6. They had the huge goal line stands. Felt like a defense that you could certainly win with, to say the least.
Yeah, kept them in it. I mean, they'd certainly had some plays, like the Henry touchdown where he's wide open. It's kind of classic Bengals defense coverage or lack thereof. But yeah, I mean, kept them in it. Yeah, like it's. I think, like I said earlier, I mean, we expected this to be, Drake Maye MVP performance, 300 plus yards, multiple touchdowns, probably. If you're like me and you had him on your fantasy lineup, you probably thought that was a lock, but it really wasn't, man. They kind of held the Patriots to not necessarily an average performance, but not, a barn burner, like I said earlier too. So I think, from a rushing and even a passing performance, just the way they defended that, I think you got to be pretty happy with, especially what we've seen out of the Bengals defense, like this type of performance. Absolutely. I'd take it. I mean, it's not without fault, but it's not, statistically the worst defense that we've seen all year too. So I'll take it.
Officially 392 yards for the Patriots, but the Bengals only able to muster 307 offensively themselves. Bengals 3 for 13 on third down, while the Patriots were only 5 of 13 as well. So, look, I think the Bengals defense did their job. but it's still a matter of trying to win ball games, and it's hard to do when your offense is not clicking and you're missing your number one playmaker. And it's tough to do. It's tough to do for sure. But they have to bounce back, and they've got a big stretch coming up, Austin. They've got the Ravens on the road, and then they go to Buffalo before getting the Ravens at home. Obviously Burrow coming back is huge for this, but can they salvage this season? And if they can, how do they go about doing it?
I don't know if they can. I'd like to think that they can, but I mean, I think we'll probably see more of a regression to the defense that we've seen all year rather than this type of performance every week. You don't know. I mean, the thing that's kind of crazy about the Thanksgiving game is you're basically 4 days away from that. So you got to figure if T has any type of concussion, I mean, he's definitely out for that, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the weird thing about the whole Burrow thing is that is like a 4-day stretch. Is he really going to feel that much better than he did today on Thursday? So we'll see. But I just it would be a lot for me to think that they would be able to. I think they'd have to they can only lose like one of those games essentially, or would they have to go like 5-1? I think in that final stretch or something like that. So it's like, I don't know. It seems like a lot. Like I just would love to think that they can, but just with the way that they played all year, like I can't put enough confidence in this defense to show up for that big of a stretch the whole time. Like I just can't. I don't know. I can't get behind it. But I'm eager to see where you're at too on it.
Well, I think they needed some momentum, and they needed to get things going, and I don't think that they really did that, unfortunately. Seeing now, let me pull it up. I just want to make sure that I'm reporting this accurately. Bengals tweeted out that T. Higgins did in fact have a concussion. That's confirmed. So I didn't see that had been officially announced earlier. So that makes it tougher. As you mentioned, he's not going to be able to get back for next week, most likely. So they'll have to figure out what they do there. Meanwhile, Zach Taylor at the podium. So we'll keep an eye out for quotes from him as he goes through his press conference here and what he can shed some light on as we move forward in this post-game show and kind of give some live reaction to that. We'll start with this quote from Zach. "We don't appreciate losing. It's an awful feeling. It's sick, but our guys keep showing up. We can't question the fight for 1 second, and at some point that is going to pay off."
Run out of points where that could pay off, but classic Zach speak honestly is to me.
Yeah. I mean, it is exactly that. At some point that's going to pay off. Well, at some point might be too late for your job, Zach. And again, we talked about this before the game as well, but like it's just not enough. Like it's just not enough. And again, Zach Taylor continues to be the culture guy, coach that he is, and I'll give him credit. He's steadfast in his messaging, and that is for sure. But I mean, it's infuriating to go and watch week after week and listen to him week after week just try to basically spit out the same exact thing time after time after time. It's exhausting. And I'm going to ask you this question that Jay asked in the chat. Is our season over?
I mean, it's one of those, if there's a chance at all, you're saying there's a chance, but I think mathematically no, but just the way that I feel about it, yes. I mean, it's like we just said with Zach, like you're running out of points to kind of build that turnaround essentially, and you're putting a lot of pressure to do something that this team hasn't been able to do all year. So it'd be hard for me to just say, all right, yep, like once Burrow's back, all of our problems are fixed. Because like even when the offense was humming, like we've seen our defense not be able to keep them in the game. So it's just hard for me to like you're betting on both sides of the ball to get like marginally better in a very short stretch, like that with little margin for error too. So it's like I can't get behind. I mean, so there's a chance, but I have zero, maybe 1% confidence in it actually happening, I guess.
Yeah. you have to win out, right? I mean, that's the first thing. There's zero chance of winning the division if you don't win out. So that's the biggest thing, right? You drop a game and you're done. Like, there's zero question about it. Like, you drop a game and you're done, which, to be fair, you're done anyway. Like, let's just be honest about where we are. I know you said it, but like, we're done. But you got to win out. And if you can go 6-0 over the course of the last 6 weeks of the season, then that's great. But I just so highly doubt that can happen. And it's really frustrating. And I
today's the game
apologize,
that you
obviously.
really want to pull out, but
yeah. I mean, look, I've been live for 4 hours now, so I apologize if the energy's not there and the mind's not there. It gets a little brain rot there towards the end of the show. But like, I for everything Zach Taylor has done, like and he deserves credit for getting us to the Super Bowl. But I mean,
but it's almost bought him too much time, though. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, we can appreciate the Super Bowl run and what that stood for, and it's hard to say take that out, right? Because you can't really take that out. But otherwise, I think you wouldn't. You'd be hard pressed to find people that are satisfied with him as a coach. But
yeah, he was asked about Joe Burrow starting today versus Thursday. Would not commit to Joe Burrow being the starting quarterback on Thursday. Said he felt like Joe put himself in a great position to play today, but made the decision that it wasn't best for him to do that. And we'll see what happens this week. So let's go down that road now, Austin. We've had this conversation on Chatterbox plenty, but let's go down that road now. Should Joe Burrow play on Thursday, knowing that your season is essentially over?
I say yes, only because I'm banking on him not getting hurt, for one. But also, I think if you're Joe, you got to figure that dude wants to play a lot. And I know that we've had that conversation with the Reds and Elliott and everything else. Like, somebody's got to say no to these guys at some point. But I also think for just this franchise, if Burrow's ready to go, I think you almost have to play him. Just put your best team out there if you're not mathematically out. Like, it would send not that the Bengals have ever been good at messaging, but like, if you were still mathematically in it and didn't give everything that you can to try to win it, then like, it just fortifies what everybody already thinks about the Bengals for the most part. But I think, if you're able to go full strength and, medically, like, Joe's ready to go, I think you got to play him. It sucks that it's probably going to be all for nothing. And it sucks that you could very easily risk, another injury or re-aggravating the injury or whatever. But I don't know. I think with at least where I'm at with Burrow now, like, even in the next year, like, even if, full healthy off season, like, you almost have to assume that, like, there's a chance that he can get injured at any time. So you're never really going to be escaping that. So you can't, I don't think you can make that judgment just based on that fear, because to me, it's always slightly there. So yeah, man, let it rip, put him in. I mean, do you want people to get excited about the Bengals? Like, that's eventually, if they just keep running Flacco out there, and I think the kind of luster of that is almost worn off.
Yeah,
I don't know. For those reasons, I'm in, as they say.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it is on Joe Flacco and how much of it is on Zach Taylor. That's the tough part. Joe hasn't played ball in over 2 months. He's typically a slow starter, so I wouldn't put much stock in him batting 1,000 over the next few weeks. That from JQ on a super chat. Appreciate JQ. It's a valid concern. Joe Burrow has historically started seasons slow. Again, I don't know how much of that is Joe Burrow and how much of that is Zach Taylor or somebody else, but it's definitely something to think about. And the question is going to be asked every single week of, should he be playing? Should he even be in there with the injury? And he's not going to let himself sit. I just don't think he will. And, but I say that, and he let Zach Taylor bench him this week. So I don't really know what to think. It's really tough to do, especially when the reports are that Joe wanted to play and that he was ready to play, and that Zach decided definitely not. So a quick update from T. Higgins' mom on X said that was so frightening. T seems to be all right at the moment. So appreciate that update from T. Higgins' mom that that T seems to be doing okay. But again, the concussion protocol I don't think is possible to clear in just 5 days. So expecting to be without T. Higgins on Thursday against the Ravens is a tough blow for sure. We mentioned earlier T. Higgins. I saw Kyle Hamilton go down with an injury. I haven't seen an update on him. Let me see if I can find out if he came back into the game or what the update is on him. I don't see it. So he walked into the locker room, but I don't have an update on what happened. So, all right, Austin, what else do we need to talk about today? What happened that I'm forgetting about that is important?
I think the biggest takeaway, at least from, I feel like we've harped on the offense a lot, but those goal line stands that the defense have does definitely deserve some talk. I mean, they got kind of helped out by the offensive pass interference, but hey, that's football. It's going to happen too. So I think I don't know. It's just
it was pass interference, but
yeah.
I didn't.
I'm basically saying you
agree with the
can't
call
disqualify the performance because of that. You know what I mean? Like it obviously
Yep.
helped him out, but I think that's to your point, it's the right call.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that if they can build off of that, like that's to your earlier question of like, is the season over? Like, if the defense can find a way to improve week by week, like that's a different conversation for sure. But those are the kind of moments that you need to have if you're going to be that clutch team for 5 weeks in a row, whatever they have to be now. But yeah, I mean that stood out to me. I think I don't know. I felt like it was a weird game, but going back to the offense of kind of the utilization of the guys that they were throwing to. I thought we'd see a lot more of Tinsley. We kind of did towards the end of the game, obviously, but I obviously looked at him as kind of being a big option. T when he was in the game, obviously too, but it just seemed kind of like a weird game passing wise, like similar to what New England was doing. It's like we were targeting the tight ends a decent amount, which is fine, but I don't know. And then it all goes back to game plan, Zach Taylor, but.
Yeah,
it's the third down hook and ladder, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that third down hook and ladder. We can talk about that in a second. Okay. Let's go back to those goal line stands. Bengals start the third quarter with the ball. They go 3 and out. They gain 6 yards and punt it away. Patriots in their drive, they end up getting a 37-yard pass to Demario Douglas, and then Demario Douglas on an end around for 14 yards before Drake Maye pass. Dax Hill called for pass interference. That took the ball all the way down to the 5-yard line. It was first and goal at the 5. Drake Maye threw incomplete, and then Drake Maye a screen pass to Trevion Henderson where the Bengals stopped him at the 1-yard line. They tried to throw again, and it was incomplete, but they went for it on 4th down and got a call on Dax Hill. Pass interference call that, again, Dax Hill grabbed the back of Boute's jersey, gave him a first down there at the half-yard line, 0-yard run before Drake Maye's touchdown pass was called back for pass interference, which you just mentioned. Drake Maye then passed back to Hunter Henry, who picked up 10 down to the 1-yard line again. Stevenson for no gain. Bengals stood up and got the turnover on downs. Bengals then force a punt, and then on the Patriots' very next drive, they get down deep into, two drives later, they get down deep into Bengals territory yet again. They get first and goal at the 4, Drake Maye incomplete, 3-yard run by Henderson down to the 1, and then Drake Maye up the middle for no gain, stopped on the tush push. They settle for a 19-yard field goal. 12 plays at the goal line, goal-to-go situations where this defense stood up and kept the Patriots out of the end zone. And that really kept them in this game because at that point it could have been, it could have been 27-13, if I'm remembering correctly, if not worse, based on those two stands. So Bengals defense really stood up and got the stops that they needed when they needed them. and kept the Bengals in this game and gave them a chance to win it there on that final possession. But you mentioned that 3rd and 23 hook and lateral. I've already given my opinion on this a lot, but I haven't done it for the podcast. So I'm going to let you go first, and then I'm going to give my opinion so the podcast listeners can hear it as well.
Yeah, I knowing Zach Taylor teams, I appreciate the creativity because it's a break from the norm, certainly, of what we usually see of kind of what I'd consider a lot of low percentage plays, throws out on the sidelines. You're banking on basically a guy coming down with a ball and single, double coverage, whatever. But in that situation, it's almost too essentially slow of a play to develop to me to when they're already basically playing for, prevent the long play. So like I think it would work better if the defense wasn't basically fine with you doing whatever you want for the first, 10 yards. You could throw it back and forth 3 times and then, they'd still probably be back there waiting. So from that aspect, I think it was kind of silly, but I don't know, man. Like, obviously, if it had worked, we'd be like, holy crap, what, finally a great call. But so I don't know. It's just a weird play in that scenario. And especially whenever you have plays like that involves any type of kind of tricky lateral, like you're always risking a turnover to me too, which is scary. But I don't know. I think overall, I think I'm glad to see the creativity, but it's just a weird spot for it, I think.
Well, I'll say I was quick in my disdain for it in the live stream. So to my credit, I didn't wait for it to fail. I knew it was going to fail from the beginning. So I'll take credit for that. But I agree with you. It's 3rd and 23. It's not like it's 3rd and 5 or something like that. So the Patriots defense is sitting back. They're allowing T. Higgins to make that catch underneath anyway. And so it's not like they're, jumping the pass to try and keep you from picking up a first down right there at the 5-yard line. They're sitting back. And so it makes no sense to me to try and do a hook and lateral at that point. It's just not a play that's ever going to pick up 23 yards. They did pick up a good chunk, but the reason they picked up a good chunk is because the defense was playing in prevent defense. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. We've got another quote from Zach Taylor. Austin, are you ready?
Probably.
Reporter asked, at 3-8, what are y'all building momentum for? Zach Taylor said, to just find a win.
It's funny and also very true. Like, what are we trying to win at this point?
Just trying to find a win.
I don't know. Yeah, we're still looking, but hey, we're trying to find it somewhere. Hopefully it's in a primetime Thanksgiving game against a division rival with a quarterback that hasn't played in months. But hey, maybe we'll find one. Just run into it.
Yeah. Bengals now losers of their last 4, 8 of the last 9. What's more surprising, the fact that they were able to beat the Steelers 33-31, or the fact that they've lost 8 of the last 9? I think the fact that they even beat the Steelers is kind of surprising myself. But
remember how much fun that was? It seems like forever ago.
It was last year, right? It had to be last year. There's no way that was this season. Had to be. All right, Austin, any final thoughts on this one?
No, I think we've covered it, man. But just another frustrating Bengals Sunday. And it'll be an interesting week, I'm sure. The talk for the next few days leading into Thanksgiving is going to be Joe Burrow. So I'm ready for that, the circus that it brings along with it. But for a team that needs a spark, he will certainly provide that both on and off the field. So yeah. I'm ready for that part of it.
All right. Well, be sure to subscribe to Chatterbox Sports on YouTube for updates and storylines throughout the week as we work towards that Ravens Thursday night Thanksgiving game. I will be live with your play-by-play and live reaction yet again for that one. Reed Mouse will join me, though, for pregame and halftime, so that'll be fun. Make sure you join us on that. And then Stone Shields joining for the post-game show. Stone will be doing the Stone Shields show during the week as well, so make sure you check that out on each morning, Monday through Friday as well. So lots of other content throughout Chatterbox world, the Chatterbox Bearcats, FC Cincinnati, Flying Lion podcast, and much more. So appreciate you all tuning in. For Austin Layton, until next time, I'm Craig Sandlin. Maybe we'll get a win. Who dat?